Did Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel actually leak what Ellen DeGeneres did over on Epstein Island? Today we're diving into this video to find out just that. We know Ellen DeGeneres was involved in a lot of shady things, many illegal things, which is why she fled the country, but today we're diving in a little bit deeper, and I really want to see what Mel Gibson specifically said, as well as Jim Caviezel. So let's dive in. And as we dive in, I'm actually drinking some Gamer Supps energy drink because it's just too hot today to have a coffee. Let me know what you're drinking. Now, let's have a watch.
Two of the most recognizable actors in Hollywood history made a film about transporting young ones. Now, the entire industry tried to kill it. And one of the biggest names in entertainment, someone who built her whole career on the words, "Be kind," stayed completely silent when people demanded a response from her. And her name later showed up in the Epstein files. This video is about how those three things are connected and what the full picture actually looks like. Before we get into all of it, here's the quick background you need if you're new on the channel. Now, Jim Caviezel is the actor who played Jesus Christ in The Passion of the Christ in 2004. That film was directed by Mel Gibson. It made over $600 million on a $30 million budget after Hollywood passed on distributing it. Both men had already learned that certain stories Hollywood won't touch. And I'm not going to go much into Jeffrey Epstein, as most of my audience already know what he did.
Now, we've already spoken about Mel Gibson, Jim Caviezel, Ellen DeGeneres, and of course, Jeffrey Epstein, but we never connected the four of them together, which is why this video interests me so much. And by the way, any video that I'm actually watching, I always source in the description of my own videos if you want to check them out.
So let's focus on the elephant in the room. So Sound of Freedom was finished in 2018. Budget, $14.5 million. It had a distribution deal with 20th Century Fox. Then Disney bought Fox in 2019, and the film just disappeared. Not shelved with an explanation, not delayed with a date, just gone. The filmmakers spent over a year fighting to get it out. Angel Studios finally acquired the worldwide distribution rights in March 2023. And what happened when it actually released on July 4th, 2023, was something nobody in the industry expected. It made $14.2 million on opening day alone. It beat Indiana Jones and The Dial of Destiny, a film about made for $14.5 million that Hollywood tried to sit on for 5 years, ended up making $251 million globally. The executive producer attached to this film from day one, Mel Gibson. The film's director said publicly he doesn't think Disney buried it intentionally. His words were that it got lost in translation during the merger. That is a very generous read of a company that held on to a film for half a decade.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness.
Now, it's no surprise to me that the film actually did well in the box office. This is a topic that a lot of people are interested in. It's also a topic that many in Hollywood didn't want to be revealed, because a lot of people that are in the Hollywood circuit are obviously involved in the things that are being exposed inside of the video itself.
When Jim Caviezel landed in Colombia to film Sound of Freedom, traffickers reportedly approached him and his crew openly, asking if they wanted boys or girls. This wasn't a scene in the script. It was happening in front of the camera crew in real life.
You know, when we were down in Cartagena, the guys would come up, traffickers, and they would, you know, right in front of us ask us if we wanted niñas or niños, and little boys or little girls. And people think that that's not something that happens here in the United States. Well, absolutely it does. Over 300,000 children under the ages of 18 were sucked into the deepest recesses of hell, and it's disgusting that the media hasn't covered it like they should. There obviously is really good media like yourself, but others that completely ignore it. And I think people need to understand, American people are starting to understand what is actually going on, and are sick and tired of it, especially with the south border.
It actually has to be really powerful to be in Colombia, about to record Sound of Freedom about this topic, and actually have people approaching you to try and in real life offer you the things that you're about to expose inside of a video. That is how relevant the topic actually was. And think about the fuel that it had to put on Jim Caviezel's fire to actually make this video and to make this video bang, which of course it did. The question is, why was it held so deep underwater and did no one want to release it? And also, I'm still looking for that connection with Ellen DeGeneres.
You know, it's when I bring this up to people, I'm not for trafficking of children. I want to stop it. You can do something now, and we can end this. When your child is taken, you're never going to see that kid again. We're at that point right now, and if we let our little ones continue to be slaughtered, boy, there's going to be a judgment on this world, and especially our country.
And he didn't stop talking about it after filming Wrapped. Caviezel said Hollywood had arrived at a very, very dark place, where no one just hands an actor a project without strings attached. By the time Angel Studios took the film, Caviezel had already been functionally shut out of major Hollywood roles for years.
The Hollywood handing that person, here you go, you can do whatever you want. No, it doesn't work that in the industry. We've come to a very, very dark place. But there's a great light that's moving right now. And a lot of young people like me and other ones, younger filmmakers are coming forward. And, you know, filmmakers are usually a bunch of renegades, but there used to be this coolness of rebel without a cause. Now they're rebelling with one.
He also said Epstein's island wasn't the only one. Let that sit for a second.
I can say one thing. I showed it in Vegas, and there was 5 screenings, about 1,500 people that saw it. During the 5 screenings, each screening, there was a talking going on. And I was like watching the audience going, what? The second time it happened, again, third time, talking in this one particular spot. And I'm thinking, what, did we do something wrong or something? But so then one more time it happened. At the end, I was asking about the movie, and I asked them about that one particular part where everybody's talking, and they all cried out Epstein Island. And I went, oh, okay. Now I understand what we're up against.
Now, they did just say that there's more than one Epstein Island. Now, there may not be other Epstein places, but there are definitely more networks of people very similar to Jeffrey Epstein, possibly worse than Jeffrey Epstein, doing this type of stuff right under our noses. And it's going to look different with every network that's out there. It's our job to try and expose all of them.
Wow.
Epstein Island isn't the only island out there, and Tim Ballard takes down one in the film.
When Sound of Freedom dropped, the critical response was fast and coordinated. It was labeled a QAnon movie, a right-wing propaganda film, a dangerous conspiracy theory. The same outlets that had spent years writing positively about Tim Ballard's real-life anti-trafficking work were now calling the film based on that work radioactive. The film's director, not a conservative figure, worth pointing out, publicly said Caviezel's personal comments about adrenochrome hurt his work. He separated the film from Caviezel's statements and noted the film was made before QAnon even existed. Then, in January 2024, the Epstein client list documents were unsealed. Names from entertainment, finance, government. The same crowd that was calling this movie dangerous was suddenly very quietly looking at their own phones.
We're shining a light on something they don't want shined on. And, you know, this has been around for a long, long time. Biblically, it's been around. What they did to children during the time of Moses and again during the time of Jesus.
Yes. Notice he's on the Charlie Kirk show right there. You could see in the bottom right that was the platform where he was speaking. Now, this video overall is heavily focused on Jim Caviezel, and I'm wondering if what's being implied here is that Ellen DeGeneres was deeply embedded in this trafficking network, or if it's not at all, and maybe what we're seeing here is giving us a story, but not relevant to what the title actually is. We'll find out.
And what we've been doing now.
August 2023, Sound of Freedom had just crossed $100 million at the domestic box office. Fans of the film started flooding Ellen DeGeneres' Instagram comment section. And when I say flooding, every single post. Under videos of her cooking, under clips of her talking about fruit, under lighthearted jokes, the same 2 words, Sound of Freedom. Thousands of comments. It went viral. Ellen DeGeneres, someone who had spent nearly 20 years building her entire identity around Be Kind, who had a platform reaching tens of millions of people, never responded. Not a word, not an acknowledgement, nothing. At the time, most people wrote it off as internet trolling. But in the context of everything that followed, her silence, specifically on that film, specifically when people were asking her directly, became the first thing the internet stored away. 4 years before any Epstein files dropped, and 3 years before Sound of Freedom even released, Ricky Gervais stood on the 2020 Golden Globe stage, in front of every major studio head, in front of the A-list. And he said something that made that entire room go completely silent. He referenced Epstein by name. He told the room to be quiet. He said he knew Epstein was their friend, and he said he didn't care. When the Epstein documents dropped in January 2024, that clip exploded. Over 6 million views on X within days. What people noticed watching it back, the discomfort in that room wasn't a bit. Nobody was laughing the way you laugh at a joke that doesn't apply to you. In January and February 2026, the DOJ released over 3 million files connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Ellen DeGeneres' name appears in those files. Here's what it actually says. A Hollywood publicist named Peggy Siegel forwarded an email to Epstein referencing seeing DeGeneres dancing at a party on the island of St. Bart's. Her name also appears in an Apple News newsletter about allegations on her show that was sent to Epstein, and in a redacted email quoting a college graduation speech she reportedly gave. None of those appearances are evidence of criminal conduct. Fact-checkers at Snopes, PolitiFact, and Reuters all confirmed that her name and references to wrongdoing in the files are separate and unlinked. The claims that the files expose her as a cannibal, that came from an AI-generated audio clip published by a known fake news site, rated definitively false. The distinction matters here. Her name is in the files. What people online are saying those files prove, that's a different thing entirely. You deserve to know both.
You know that Ellen DeGeneres' stage set is exactly the same as on Epstein Island, with all the couches, the same colour, the same soft furnishings, palm trees, window, everything to the T. And I'm like,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Hey, we're getting some up now.
Getting some up now on our screen.
Yeah, there's palm trees. You're right.
But look at the backdrop behind her, striped building,
Emma, there's
palm
nothing
trees.
to see here.
So don't berate her.
I'm not berating. I'm just saying.
I'm going to look further.
Diddy appeared on The Ellen DeGeneres Show multiple times across its 19-year run. In a 2009 Season 7 episode, Ellen asked him about his birthday parties. Diddy mentioned he invites her every time, but she never shows up. She asked what time his parties started. His answer, caught on camera, now viewed millions of times in resurfaced clips, was that midnight was a different type of party.
Yeah, no, it's great. So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up to.
No, well, is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. One could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Ellen, on November 4th, 2016, Ellen posted on Twitter wishing Diddy a happy birthday. She used a nickname, one she said her followers had no need to understand the origin of. That tweet sat completely unremarkable for 8 years. Diddy was arrested in September 2024 on charges of trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. His conviction came in 2025. After that tweet became one of the most discussed screenshots on the internet. Ellen DeGeneres and Anne Heche dated publicly from 1997 to 2000. They were one of the first openly same-sex celebrity couples in Hollywood. When they broke up, Heche said the consequences were immediate. She said Ellen effectively banned her from the show, which made networks and studios reluctant to work with her. She described it as being canceled before the word even meant what it means today.
She had a lot of money, or you broke up with her because... I broke up with her because her goal was to have a lot of money, and mine was to find love, and hers was I want 60 billion.
Yeah, we need to break down the relationship between the late Anne Heche and Ellen. Warning, it gets dark, and I'm gonna show some pretty disturbing footage. It's March 24th, 1997 when the two meet at a Vanity Fair Oscar party, and there's an instant connection between the two. It's a super fast love affair, and not too long after is when Ellen's cover of Time magazine comes out. This cover caused a lot of controversy, and it's just 11 days later on April 25th that Anne would be attending the premiere of her movie Volcano. She decides to flaunt her new paramour Ellen on the red carpet. This is an absolutely insane move for Anne, because even just bringing up the idea, she was getting threats from management, she was told her contract with Fox would be ended, but she showed up on the carpet with Ellen anyway, and the two get escorted off by security. But it's so WLW to be together only a month and be like, our love is worth losing everything. And sure enough, Anne doesn't get cast in another major studio motion picture for the next 10 years, while Ellen becomes Ellen.
I mean, it's very clear. There's things out there about Ellen that are rumor, and there's things about Ellen that are true. And there's a bunch of things that are in the middle that we can assume what we want to assume about Ellen DeGeneres. We know that a lot of the things that she did were for her own benefit. That's a fact. Whether she was a cannibal or not a cannibal, that's still yet to be proven, although she is returning to the United States at this point in time, now living in California, no longer out in another country, because remember, she did say that she was leaving the country because of President Trump becoming president. She didn't believe in his beliefs and what he was trying to do to the country. All of that, I think, was a little bit of smoke for her to kind of get out of the way of all the Epstein and Diddy related things. Let's get back to it.
In June 2021, on her podcast, Better Together, Heche said she could finally breathe again with Ellen out of the public eye. She said people were coming to her with stories about ways Ellen had blocked her career in ways we had no idea. She had also warned Portia de Rossi directly, red flag, red flag, red flag.
I'm telling you now, like, red flag, red flag, red flag. I am going to be the original uncanceled. I am uncanceled today. I am finished with that. This is what I say. Goodbye. Watch out. You're
Anne Heche died on August 12, 2022. Her car crashed into a home in Los Angeles and caught fire. She suffered brain damage and was declared brain dead. The LA County Medical Examiner ruled her death accidental. She had almost finished writing her posthumous memoir before the crash. The internet did not accept accidental quietly. Between her podcast statements about Ellen, the timing, and footage that spread online, it became a story people refused to let close.
Like she was being carried.
Yeah, and now what you're about to watch right here was the crazy thing. It's something we've discussed on the channel actually a few months back, but this is Anne Heche as she was being brought to the ambulance. Apparently this was after the flames engulfed her inside of her car and she was proclaimed dead. Watch, she legit is in a zipped body bag, which she unzips and sits up in before she goes inside of this ambulance. So it's showing that they said she was dead, but actually she wasn't.
Out on the stretcher, her to the ambulance. And look, like I know I'm not the only one who remembers this.
See right
and
here?
Basically, she was trying to like get out of the body bag on the stretcher after the crash, and then later on she was pronounced unalive. Like, what was that? What was that movement?
Stephen Twitch Boss joined the Ellen DeGeneres show as a guest DJ in 2014. By 2020, he had been promoted to executive producer. Sources close to him told Page Six he had a hard time during the toxic workplace scandal, caught between the institution he worked for and the allegations being made against it. His wife, Allison Holker, later wrote in her memoir that she noticed a shift in him after the show ended. Losing the daily structure of a 9-year run hit him harder than anyone around him knew. In December 2022, Allison realized he had left their home without his car. Police found him dead at a hotel in Los Angeles. He was 40 years old. The cause of death was ruled a note was found. An autopsy confirmed no drugs or alcohol in his system. The medical examiner found no signs of foul play.
Well, there are rumors out there allegedly that the judge for the Diddy trial has issued a warrant for Ellen DeGeneres' arrest. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is true or not, but, you know, the rumors about Twitch, and Twitch was somebody that won So You Think You Can Dance, and then he was the DJ on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and some say that he knew information about what was going on at the Diddy parties with Ellen.
Here's what the internet kept coming back to. Two people with direct personal connections to Ellen DeGeneres, her former partner Anne Heche, and her longtime co-host and executive producer Twitch, both died within months of each other in 2022. Both deaths were officially ruled and documented. The speculation surrounding both of them has never stopped. In July 2020, BuzzFeed published an investigation where 36 former employees of the Ellen DeGeneres show described working conditions they called racist, fear-driven, and intimidating. It was the first time any of it was documented publicly. A second BuzzFeed investigation followed, with worse allegations. A senior executive producer was accused by multiple former employees of inappropriate touching in the control room. The head writer was accused of groping, inappropriate touching, and making sexually explicit comments in the office and at parties. A third executive producer was accused of making unwanted advances toward a staffer. Warner Media ran an internal investigation. All 3 producers were fired. Ellen made a public apology during the season 18 premiere. The show ran 2 more seasons and ended in May 2022.
As you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show. And then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show. This is the Ellen DeGeneres Show. I am Ellen DeGeneres. My name is there. My name is there. My name is on underwear.
After a Netflix special and a 2024 stand-up tour, Ellen and her wife Portia de Rossi bought an $18 million farmhouse in the Cotswolds in England and moved to the UK. Ellen publicly said she left because of Donald Trump's return to the White House and concerns about threats to gay marriage in the US. The internet had a different read. She left, the files dropped, her name appeared. The timeline got screenshotted and shared, regardless of what the actual sequence meant. On top of that, she was publicly diagnosed with a disease, one the internet immediately and loudly connected to the cannibalism accusations that had been circulating online. The diagnosis was real. What people were claiming it meant was not verified. Ellen has not commented on the Epstein files. She has not responded to any of the questions the internet keeps asking. December 10th, 2024, Mar-a-Lago. Mel Gibson, executive producer of Sound of Freedom, the man who directed Jim Caviezel as Jesus Christ, was speaking at a gala honoring General Michael Flynn for anti-child exploitation work. He praised everyone working to expose what was happening to children. Then, he made it personal. He said if any of his 9 children ever trafficked, he would personally kill whoever was responsible. He called the people behind it wolves in sheep's clothing that prey upon our young. Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel are not anonymous accounts making claims on social media. These are two of the most recognizable actors in the history of Hollywood. Both of them produced the most commercially successful trafficking film ever made. And both of them are now publicly attached to a conversation about powerful people in the industry protecting something that should not be protected.
There was like Hollywood resistance to that movie. Like people didn't like that you were making it. It seemed like.
Yeah, there was a lot of opposition to it, and I don't know. I think if you ever hit on that subject matter, you're gonna get people going.
And this isn't new for Gibson. He has been saying these things about Hollywood since 1998.
You know, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
And I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it that were like, surely that couldn't be, because a whole place can't be like, you know, Weird Town, you know, where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar and they all shut up when he looks at them and they tell you don't go into the house on the hill, and it's like that.
So the question that ties this entire video together, if Sound of Freedom was so obviously dangerous and irresponsible and fringe, why did the industry fight so hard to bury it for 5 years? That's a question the box office already answered. $251 million worth of people decided it was worth watching.
So if you ask me, that did not directly connect Ellen DeGeneres to Epstein Island. Does it connect her to trafficking in some way? Maybe, but nothing that's really solid or set in stone. Does it connect her to evil things that she was doing? Yeah, probably a little bit more like that, but still, again, not set in stone. Ellen DeGeneres is now living back in the United States and I believe is selling that place that she has in England. What do you think is going to happen to her, and why is she returned if she's guilty and the files are still being exposed? Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you want to dive deeper into the story, I got you covered right here. And as always, guys, I'll see you over there.